Hey there, welcome to another episode of Adventures in Glass with Doug. That's me. Well, today's episode is a bit of a repair. As you can see, I've got a totem that I built a couple of years ago for my brother and sister-in-law, and it went through a storm and sustained a bit of damage. So we've got some repair work, as you can see. The main problem we have on this one is that a branch came down and broke off the plate at this level. So we're going to have to break the silicone seal here and below it and replace that plate. We also have some water intrusion in this area, so we're going to need to probably break the seal down here, wherever the top of that piece is, and dry that out and seal that back again. So we've got a little work ahead of us, but we'll have this looking really sharp very soon. Stay with me. Okay then, I have done a reasonably good job of cleaning this up in order to be able to work on it. And I brought it up here in the studio because the traffic out front has been a little noisy. And it's turning out to be a pretty hot day. It's even pretty hot up here in the studio. So I don't know how much of this we're going to get done right now, but let me go through the procedure. Okay, so what we really want to get out of the way first is our broken plate. So we've got to break that seal, which is with silicone. Naturally, I've done a really nice job on it, so it's going to take a minute. Now, we've got a choice of top or bottom on this. And we'll start with a razor blade. Be careful, wear some gloves, safety goggles, or glasses if you have them. And we're going to run, I hope, run along that line of caulk and see if we can break the seal. Once you get a piece or two out, you should be able to then find where that silicone seal is and get under it. Okay, as you can see, I've gotten my way under that edge. Again, I've got to be careful with the sharp edges here. Usually that means you can work your way around. Well, and sometimes that happens. So what happened there was the blue bowl thinned out quite a bit up toward the top, and it was not as strong as the piece above it, the plate, so it broke. Another reason to be very careful with what you're doing. Okay. I've got a couple of broken pieces of glass here that I'm going to have to take care of and be careful about. And then I've got water that was in here that I need to soak up, so might have to give me a minute to get some of this cleaned up before we move on. So, and then I have to get this piece off of the bottom bowl, so this is going to be quite a rebuild. I'll be back when I've made some more progress. Sometimes you just have to resort to violence. Actually, I took this tack hammer and was able to kind of tap around and break off a lot of the plate. The center piece that came out was this nice cobalt blue votive candle holder. I don't know that I'm going to put that back in this piece. It means I've got to separate these two pieces also, so I don't know if that's going back in this piece or not. I may not have to work on that, but I have managed to separate this part. This glass will have to be cleaned up, get all the silicone off of that and all the grit and grime before I can use that one again. And that leaves this piece, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge to get it off of that punch bowl base. I may have to resort to a little bit of this just to get some of the bigger pieces off. Okay, we'll be back while I work on that. Well, unfortunately, the punch bowl got the better of me on this one. The base of the punch bowl had already been chipped and cracked, and in the process of trying to break that apart from the blue vase that was there, it just continued to chip and break, and so it wasn't worth continuing on with that. I've got plenty of other bases I can use anyway. So what we've salvaged from that large and actually heavy totem is the upper part here, which I will clean this up and we'll figure out how to redesign this for you. Welcome back. Let's see what we can do with this repair. As you can see, in trying to remove the plate from this portion, the blue vase that was below that, and the punch bowl, I had obviously some shattering problems. I mean, we knew that the plate was already broken. The punch bowl had a number of cracks and chips out of it, and it continued to get worse. So the punch bowl is gone. The blue vase on top of that was shattered, and that's gone. And this piece that had been part of that, I think we'll just use on another project. I'll have to take that off the remaining part of the plate. So we did our best, but we kind of came up short there. But I think I've got a solution. Just last week at this thrift store, I was able to find this smaller punch bowl, and I think that's actually going to work out very well for a new base. I did also find this starfish plate, which was real tempting, but it's not exactly the right blue to me, and it's also the sort of thing that's going to, if it were placed this way, is going to catch a lot of water. It doesn't seem to look as good this way, so we'll save that for another project. I do have a cobalt blue plate. I think that'll work well. So we'll see if we can reconstruct this, but it'll be a little shorter than we had before. It won't be quite as tall, but I think it'll work out really nicely. So, new tube of silicone. As I said, 100% silicone is my glue of choice. Put off the top. Okay, now of course it meant that I had to go back and really work on cleaning silicone off of this piece, because we don't want the old silicone interfering with the new. So what we're going to do is take this plate. I'm going to run it upside down because it won't catch as much debris that way. And we'll put our silicone on this upper rim. Take a moment to hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when I make some new videos. If you like what this is all about, hit the like button and leave me a comment. I've actually had some very good comments lately that have kind of given me some tips and hints So I don't mind having a comment or two. Okay, I think we have this sealed properly. Okay, we have the silicone on there, and we're going to try to get this centered up. It's warm up here in my studio. Actually, it's darn warm, and I think that's got my silicone pretty soft and fluid. Well, I think that makes a nice repair on this. It's a little shorter than the original that we started with, but I think the repairs take this back to a good place. We'll return this back to its owner and move on to some other projects. Hey, thanks for visiting, watching the video, giving me a thumbs up, subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Hey there, it's me, back again. Wanted to show you one more repair, and with a little explanation. I built this, I think about 2 years ago, and it was a punch bowl and a couple of other pieces, and this part of it here was a vase that I had upside down. What happened was this stem separated from the green globe part of it with the manufacturing adhesive snapping off. So nothing broke on the glass, it's just that the adhesive that was used between this clear glass and this green glass was not strong enough, given the weight of, I guess, the water and stuff in here. So I made a repair. I used my silicone. Could have used epoxy, I guess, but I used the silicone, and it still wasn't happy with that. So I think we're talking about something that's a very heavy bowl when filled with water on a very narrow stem that, while it looks cool, just didn't want to hold together. It popped off again. So I think I've got a solution. I found this bowl with a nice gold rim, and I think we're going to go directly on that green globe. I'm going to have to play around with it to make sure it's not exactly a, it's kind of a free-form bowl. So I'm going to have to find out where it looks the most level, because when you put water in, you're going to want it to be pretty level. So we're going to take that, use my trusty silicone again, but I think we're going to end up in a better place this time because of how we're going to make this stick. Looks about as level and as centered as I can get it. Might be off a little bit, but I think we'll be happy with that. So let's let that dry. Replacing this much deeper bowl. We could probably still use this on another project. I'll have to poke around and see what it could work with, but maybe it's going to need a little extra support to hold it. Okay, well, let's leave that, and that's a wrap.